People who have read The Jungle Book say it's probably one of the best books ever written. That's what I heard. I need to get around to it someday. It's written by Rudyard Kipling, who based it off part of his life, not really, just how he felt. It's a very introspective book about abandonment, fostering, and laws of the jungle. Essentially, applying human-like laws into an animal world, mostly animals living in the jungles of India. It features many different stories, the most famous story being obviously the one we adapted for this movie, being that of Mowgli, which takes up 3 chapters of the book. There's a whole lot going on about different laws, different stories. In the original book, it's about a tiger and a man basically fighting for most of their lives. The tiger kills the kid's parents, and then the kid's adopted by wolves. But then later on in his life, he has to leave, and then join the man village, who he's also not accepted in. Eventually, he leaves both of them after killing Shere Khan, with his own bare hands, might act. And yeah, that's mostly the big difference between this and the movie version. There's a lot we'll get into. There's a whole lot of other stories, too, in The Jungle Book, but that's just the main synopsis. So let's see what Disney thought of The Jungle Book.
And he held up the book by Rudyard Kipling, and he said, first thing I want you to do is not read the book.
It's a bold move to not want to adapt the source material, that you're adapting. Even though original artists and music composers wanted to base it more on the book, you can tell from this early artwork and music, but they decided that they didn't want to do that. They want to make a fun, lighthearted movie based in the jungle, rather than the more dark and atmospheric tone, which followed the book more closely. This was a bold move, especially since this could have failed badly, but fortunately for us, the movie isn't bad at all. In fact, it doesn't disregard the book that much, but it does for the most part. There are some great things in Disney's Jungle Book, however, its disregard for the source material is definitely the biggest criticism I have of this movie, and its reuse of animation, which I just found accidentally. Yeah, hi Bambi's mom. Unfortunately for us, the Jungle Book does reuse animation, not as bad as future films will, but this one reuses its own animation. Take a look at this scene right here, where the snake, known as Ka, walks away. We get to see this scene twice, essentially. And you can clearly see in this scene, they reuse the same animation except it's in the daytime. Lovely. For the most part, the animation is good, especially on the Ka the Snake, oddly enough. They reuse his animation. I think it looks pretty good. And some of the backgrounds are pretty nice to look at, I won't lie. Anyway, let's get into some story differences, since I said I wouldn't mention it. One of the big story differences is with Shere Khan himself, who barely appears in the film. This actually ends up working, since the less you see of him, the more threatening it appears, and he's actually a pretty cool villain. However, in the original book, he wasn't considered this cool or calm or collected. He was actually kind of considered a joke character, kind of a lame, quite literally call him lame all the time. So it's actually one of the few changes I actually like from the movie. Another thing I prefer is the snake, known as Ka, as I mentioned earlier, because in the book he wasn't considered a villainous character. However, he did some really weird things, like thinking he looked tasty, but helped him out anyway. In the movie, he's a straight-up villain who's only out for himself because no one else seems to like him, not even Shere Khan, which is kind of funny. Also, his voice can only be described as evil Winnie the Pooh. That's just how his new voice actor describes it, because that's what it sounds like. I actually don't believe these were even in the original Mowgli stories in the Jungle Book and the books. They just made up for the film. One of the things I don't like about this film are these elephants. Now, I like elephants. Dumbo's one of my favorites, but these elephant scenes are boring and feel like filler. They're just a bunch of military puns, and they're oddly quiet despite the fact there is a song. Their song's the worst song in the movie, in case you're wondering. But unfortunately, these characters come back later in the film, and they're not that entertaining. I don't know how that one kid has hair. It looks really jarring. And they're supposed to help out, but after they say, oh, we'll help out, we never see them again. It's just an exposition dump for Shere Khan to overhear them, and that's about it. Whatever. I'm also not a big fan of these vultures. They're just really weird characters. They're supposed to be played by the Beatles, which would have been awesome, but they're not. And their barbershop quartet song, which is very weird, does not fit the film at all. Other than that, I would say the Jungle Book actually has a pretty good soundtrack. It was the first one animated film to be done by the Sherman Brothers, who already hit gold with Mary Poppins. However, they didn't do one song, which is the most famous song in the movie, so that kind of discredits them a little bit, being the one you're seeing right now, The Bare Necessities. And while I said there are good songs in it, I really preferred just 2 that I really like. The other ones are kind of who cares. I guess the ending song is good, whatever. Baloo the bear is probably one of the best characters in the film. They changed his character a little bit from the book, who is from a teacher role. He's still a teacher, but a more fun-loving uncle character more than a teacher. He was voiced by a celebrity called Phil Harris, who I don't know anything about, or in fact he was in multiple Disney films and that one terrible Rockadoodle movie. But his voice is pretty great, and I like it. Apparently he had to be convinced heavily to do this film, but I guess he ended up liking it doing so much he's in the next 2 Disney films as well. One of my favorite parts is King Louis scenes, who's the emperor, I guess, a king of the monkeys, who wants to learn to be human. This is loosely adapted from the book, but obviously just monkeys in general, since orangutans, spoiler alert, are not from India. They're from Indonesia. Learn the difference. I've actually heard people say this is racist somehow because it's jazz, despite the fact he's voiced by a jazz singer and directly based off jazz band stuff that they actually filmed, but whatever, I don't get it. This is great, so F you if you think it's racist, it's not. The Jungle Book has a lot of great moments, but it has a lot of low points. A lot of very slow and very quiet moments that just feel very jarring and it kind of mess the pace. Like I said, the elephants and the vulture scenes ruin a lot, would have been a pretty top-tier Disney film. If it had some more elements from the book, I feel like this could have been way higher on my ranking. But unfortunately, it has some top-tier moments, but like I said, just a lot of moments that just don't gel that well with me. However, despite this film not feeling that different from some of the later films we're going to see in the 1970s coming in, it was a 1967 film, but in 1970s in general, all these scratchy films had the same vibe. This film is considered to be the last of the Silver Age, and for one reason only. This is the last film that Walt Disney ever worked on before dying of lung cancer. He never actually got to saw the release, and the animation staff didn't even know if there even was going to be any more animation films coming out of the Disney studio. In fact, no one knew what was going to happen to animation. This period seemed like the end of animation as we know it, as TV seemed to be killing it off, and now Walt Disney is officially dead. However, there was good news. The Jungle Book was a hit for the studio. In fact, they told the animators, who weren't really doing anything because they had no idea what to do, like, why the hell are you stopping? Make more animated films. So this film is fortunate enough to continue that series, because the last three films actually didn't do that well for Disney, and Jungle Book did. So now they're going to have to make animated films without Walt Disney. So now let's look at the legacy of the Jungle Book. There was a direct-to-video / DVD sequel, actually. It was theatrical, believe it or not. They actually let's put this one theatrically. Why? I don't know. It's just pretty bland, it's pretty and doesn't really follow any of the book or the actual sequel book. Yeah, the Jungle Book original book had a sequel. Say that 3 times fast. It's one of those sequels that's very uncreative. It's like, well, this was in the first movie, so we'll do this again, rather than actually following up anything interesting. So it's just a there movie. I mean, technically it was one of the first movies I ever saw as a kid, technically speaking, but I very vaguely remember watching it again because it's not that great. Speaking of not that great, Disney actually made a live-action remake in 1994 about the Jungle Book, and even though it specifically says in the title, Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book, it even has less to do with the actual book. So why the fuck would you put the guy's name in the title if it has less to do with his book? Stop lying, alright? Stop lying! Not many people know there's actually another live-action 90s Disney movie. This time was VHS release only. Yeah, this is what it looks like. You're not missing much. Disney made a live-action remake again in 2016, and this time to actually be more accurate to the original source material, even directly quoting from the book itself, which is always nice to see. I actually haven't seen it, and I've heard mixed things. Some people love it, some people don't care for it. It looks kind of a mixed bag. Maybe one day I'll watch it, we'll see. Also, this is supposed to get a sequel. We'll see how that goes. Apparently I never knew this, but there's a baby show of the Jungle Book called The Jungle Cause, released in the 1990s. It only had 21 episodes and 2 seasons, and I can't say anything about it, but it exists. One of the weirder ones was this thing called Tailspin, which was kind of popular. It's basically its own thing, but for some reasons, the main characters are characters from the Disney's Jungle Book. Like, Baloo is the main character, even though it's World War II fighter pilot stuff, which has nothing to do with the Jungle Book, but whatever. This show was popular like a lot of the early Disney afternoon shows. It doesn't look bad, I haven't seen it, but at the same time, it doesn't really have much to do with Jungle Book, so let's move on. Disney apparently thought, let's put some Jungle Book games on our consoles, which is what they did. So there's a Jungle Book game on quite a lot of early consoles here, including an NES and Master System release, as well as a version for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. It has a similar structure, but obviously the 16-bit versions are more advanced. There's also one for Game Boy, but I guess that's not necessary to see. One of the weirdest ones is a rhythm game for the PlayStation 1 and 2 called Rhythm and Groove, which is dancing with the Jungle Book. It looks weird. I mean, a lot of these rhythm games just look really weird in general. Classic characters. Even the Mario one looks really dumb. Released around the same time, there was a Jungle Book Game Boy Color game called Mowgli's Wild Adventure, which seems to be based off those older Super Nintendo, Genesis, and NES games. So that's interesting. It actually looks pretty good for Game Boy Color standards, if I do say so myself. In the last game, it looks like a really crappy mobile game, where it's just a Temple Run ripoff, based off the 2016 remake. There's nothing to say here. Does this look good to you? It doesn't look good to me, so let's move on. Now, before we talk about some Disney park attraction, I gotta mention the mascot characters. And I usually don't mention mascot characters because pretty much every character from a film gets at least one. But Mowgli's an interesting case because, for the most part, well, he's running around shirtless. It's better than the book where he's basically naked the whole time. But yeah, for the most part, the cast members wear this weirdly weird leotard that looks like their skin tone. It's kind of deep, but whatever. I mean, whatever. I don't know what to say. This is really funny. And speaking of Disney parks, despite the fact we've seen a crap ton of media, there's not a whole lot of park stuff, which is strange, because usually if they have a lot of media, it means they got some park attraction. But then again, Hunter Animations had a crap ton of media and basically no attractions. The Jungle Book seems like it could be, well, for just one basic theming. One basic thing I can find is a meet and greet at certain Disney parks, mostly Paris and Hong Kong, called Rhythms of the Jungle. That's not a whole lot saying there. And apparently Colonel Hathis has a pizza outpost. Why of all characters would you make it based off the worst character in the movie? I have no idea. This is only in Disneyland Paris, by the way. I don't know why there is none in Animal Kingdom. Seems like a perfect area to have a Jungle Book themed area. Especially since I think one of the areas is based off India. I haven't been to Animal Kingdom in a while, but ooh, I have no idea. That's what Disney does. What Disney does. There was a light show in Animal Kingdom based off a live action film, but yeah, that's it. And that's it for everything Jungle Book media related, so I'm going to get into my rankings. I decided to put the Jungle Book in the B tier. Before I rated it a 7, but now I'm giving it a slight boost to an 8. I think it earns its spot there. I think it's pretty good. It has some problems, as I mentioned in the video. However, I do think it's worth an 8. That's pretty good, right? I'm actually quite a big fan of the Jungle Book villains. As you can see, we got one in B, A, and S. King Louie is kind of a villain, but he's more just misguided more than anything, so I put him in B tier. He's a very entertaining character, and I'm a big fan of orangutans in general. They're pretty cool, though they're not from India. In A tier, we got Ka, who's a very interesting villain. I like how he's kind of an outsider everything, and I like his weird power, hypnotizing power, and his song is just very sinister. And yeah, he's a pretty cool character. Shere Khan is one of those characters that makes up for his lack of screen time from his pure presence alone, and when he appears on screen, he's very intimidating, and I really like him quite a bit. He's basically like a beta version of Scar from The Lion King, if that makes any sense. Now it's the part that, well, I think is most interesting to talk about in the ranking, is the song ranking. Look at these giant lists I got here, holy crap. At the bottom, in E tier, we have That's What Friends Are For. Like I said, the song does not fit. It's not even a good barbershop quartet song. I actually like that genre, it just doesn't fit well in the movie, and it's not a very good one in general. So that's E tier. I believe our next one is going to be in D tier. We have got, let's see, I know it's there. I gotta find it. It's the Colonel Hathis March, which is just more annoying than anything. Trust Me works as a villain thing, but it doesn't really work well as a song in itself. I'm not going to be listening to it, but, you know, it's fine besides that. And then, I think that's all those songs. I might be missing one in that ranked here. The other 3 songs we got in B tier. We got My Own Home, which re-listening to it when I was ranking them, I listened to them again before I ranked them. I was like, well, that song's actually pretty good. I actually was tempted to put it higher, but I was like, okay, I'll leave it there. It's pretty good for it. Then in A tier, we got The Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You. They're almost S tier, but they're missing it just a little bit in order to get to S tier. But overall, pretty good turnout for the Jungle Book. 3 songs ranked pretty high. 3 songs ranked not so high. So not bad. Next time, we'll be heading into the Bronze era of Disney with the Aristocats. See you then. Hey, did you know I have a book? In fact, I have multiple books. They're available on Amazon. There should be a link in the description. However, I do have the digital versions on my Patreon, so if you want to support me and read what I have written, they're mostly kids' books, but you might enjoy it. After all, we all like SpongeBob, or whatever your video you're watching. I might reuse this clip. Then you can make sure to check it out. And thank you.